AEW has just gotten a little bit edgier. What's happening with FTR and AEW's ratings not doing so well, along with their live events? We'll also touch on WWE Fastlane. But before we do, Timekeeper, ring the bell.
Welcome to the And Still a Wrestling Podcast, your weekly podcast covering the latest in the world of professional wrestling.
Interesting time because of Major League Baseball. We get AEW Dynamite on a Tuesday night. Hopefully people will remember that. It goes up right against NXT because of this. So some ratings wars going on, some Tuesday night wars, if you will. We'll talk about that. We've got everybody here. We've got the amazing Oracle, who really honestly predicts almost everything accurately. Almost. Actually, everything accurately. We'll go with that. And then we also have the Authority, our WWE expert, Drew. Welcome in, Drew, as well.
Hey.
And obviously myself, Morgan, the Casual. We appreciate you joining this podcast again. This is And Still a Wrestling Podcast. Let's start it off, fellas. We'll go with the news that Adam Copeland, the rated R superstar, he's coming down, and he responded to Christian Cage and the colorful response that he got at the end there from Christian Cage. What do you guys think about Adam Copeland so far and his first couple of days in the AEW ring?
Go fuck yourself.
And we're off to a good start.
I couldn't believe that he said that, but I thought it was perfect because it really makes me want to see these two guys in the ring.
We're off to a good start.
I agree. I'm not sure if I'm looking for short-term storytelling here or long-term. I don't think I want to see the two of them touch for a good 6 months. I don't need to see a payoff at Full Gear in a month and a half. I want this to simmer a little bit. I want Christian to put all his soldiers in front of Adam Copeland before we actually get a payoff here. And I actually, as the Oracle, will predict that I believe we're going to see an old friend Wednesday night come back into prominence and show his face for the first time on a national professional wrestling show in many years. I think we're going to see Gangrel on Wednesday night. What do you guys think?
Okay, I will say, back to the thing, it's like Christian Cage doing the absolute best work of his career right now. This version of Christian is easily probably the most entertaining, most watchable he's been in pretty much his whole career. As far as Gangrel, it's like, hey, I will remind you, it's like this would not be, if you're right, this is not Gangrel's AEW debut. If you remember, it's like we took as like when the Young Bucks took a shot at the Hardys, they brought out Gangrel for this.
Good point. I think we're going to see him back.
Go
ahead.
I was like, but I'm not ruling out it could be a thing. I don't know if they do it this week, but I wouldn't rule it out at some point.
My biggest takeaway from Wednesday night and the Adam Copeland our segment was when he came out and hit his Adam Copeland pose where he throws his arms up in the air and smiles and looks around. You can just see in the man's eyes, oh my God, I went from 8 to 10,000 people arenas to 2,500 people. What did I do?
Oh, no. The best way to look at it is watch his new intro where he go to the left side, cheer for the people. Don't go to the right side because there's nobody there.
That's the hard cam. You don't sell the hard cam side. So, yeah, that was of everything that went down Wednesday night with Adam Copeland. My biggest takeaway was I could just read in the man's face, oh my God, what have I done? I've gone from 8 to 10,000 person arenas to 2 to 2,500 people. You could just see it in his face. And I just hope that, the business continues to grow, but we'll get into that towards the end of the segment, towards the end of this podcast.
At least we're acknowledging it's like something is attendance and ticket sales kind of are leading towards AEW might have a problem right now. or as I think I heard Dave Meltzer say today, the product has gone cold.
Well, they've got a few things going on at once, and it'll be interesting to see they're at a time and place where I feel like they're meeting adversity, and how can they endure it? What's the next steps they can do? A lot of concern on my side because, I look at it from, comparison, which may not be the best thing, but you can't really compare, say, Collision to Fastlane because that's a pay-per-view to, your regular Saturday night show. But we all knew going into and I'm sure Tony Khan knew going into Saturdays, especially, during football season, that it was not going to be easy. And really, wrestling has always had a struggle with basketball playoffs and Major League Baseball playoffs. So that's not uncommon to have to deal with that. But they definitely set themselves up to go toe to toe with college football Saturdays. And, depending on where they are, they have to, be very calculated with where their arenas are, to try to adjust for sure. But when we look at the Collision lineup, I did want to start with that, fellas, because there was some discussion there. I think some good discussion we had over text message. This week's Collision featured Tony Storm, who I know right now Drew and I are still drooling over her, performances that she's doing as now what she's calling herself the timeless Tony Storm. And she will be showing up on Dynamite tomorrow night. We're recording this on a Monday night, so she'll be there on Tuesday night. Hey guys, we might need to release this tomorrow morning on a Tuesday morning so we don't skip the Dynamite. Normally the Dynamite's going to be on a Wednesday. We'll release that morning, but maybe we want to make it earlier because of that too. But yeah, timeless Tony Storm and MJF are announced for the Dynamite Tuesday night. And I think that's a good thing because what Tony Storm has going right now is very interesting to me. I don't remember if Kevin, you had given your thoughts on it. But do you like where Tony Storm is going right now?
So I am enjoying Tony Storm's work. However, she is not anywhere near as hot and or as flexible as CJ Perry. However, I think this is some of her best work I've ever seen. Now, I think I first became aware of her in the Mae Young Invitational in WWE, and that was, I think, maybe 3+ years ago. This incarnation of her character is so fantastic. I don't know if you guys had an opportunity, but she sat down with RJ City and did 3 vignettes back to back. They ran about 8.5 minutes on YouTube. So it was their unedited version of what you saw unfold on Dynamite over the past few weeks. But you basically see her character go from a sane person to the third scene, so to speak, where her makeup is smeared and she discovers the whole timeless moniker. The fact that she wrote a script and gave it to Kiera Hogan on Saturday night was fantastic. The fact that she's throwing to commercial by saying, make sure you patronize the sponsors, so on and so forth. I think it is absolutely fantastic. If she continues on this trajectory, I'm not even sure she needs a belt. I just want to continue to see this. I'm enjoying it. I don't know what else to say other than I'm really enjoying her character.
I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing when I say this, but Tony Storm is the best created and developed character AEW has done so far.
Wow. Really? We're going that far. The
Well,
best
let's
created
no, I
character
say
so
like
far.
it's good in the sense that like every week she's building a new layer to this character and it's, and it keeps getting better and better. On the other hand, I don't know how good it is for AEW in the sense of Tony Storm's the best character you've developed. There should be other people who have developed characters, but realistically, she's the best built character this company has made so far.
I can't argue that. She's doing some great work right now.
Wow. And I'll
Speaking
tell
of
you this,
develop
something that
speaking of developing characters, Morgan, I'm
um
gonna interrupt you for a second here. Um, how many times are we gonna start and stop with Wardlow? This is another takeaway that I had from Wednesday night. So you could see as soon as Wardlow came out, he was shoot pissed off. And I say this because his performance in the ring really dictated his overall feelings. In a professional wrestling match, you have to let the crowd absorb what you're doing so that you can tell a story. The only story Wardlow told the other night was, I'm going to beat the living shit out of Griff Garrison and I'm out. Oh, and by the way, they told me I have 45 seconds when I used to have 4 minutes. And that's why he's pissed. And you can tell because he did 5 power bombs, and the last 2 were within about 20 seconds total. He never gave the crowd time to absorb what they were seeing. He went out there, he decimated Griff Garrison, and then walked through the crowd. That is a pissed off man, and I cannot blame him because I believe this is the third start and stop with him now. And every time they start with him, they go cold on him, and I don't understand what it is. But yes, that was my other takeaway from Wednesday night. Whatever they're doing with him and whatever they did to him the other night, and I truly believe it was they cut his segment short. Um, it's not good right now at all. Not good at all. Drew, I saw your finger up in the air.
Oh, I was just like, man, we talked about this with my coworkers at work and stuff. And one of the things it got on about was there they were talking about, like, did AEW drop the ball with Jade Cargill and Wardlow? Personally, I don't think they dropped the ball with Jade Cargill because it is showing by the WWE is showing, especially like with Fastlane, when they made a big deal about her. Her name's Jade Cargill. They made a huge deal about her showing up on the pre-show and stuff. So clearly AEW didn't drop the ball. Wardlow, on the other hand, is a textbook example of AEW absolutely dropped the ball. This dude had huge momentum going into, breaking away from MJF, winning the TNT title, and then for whatever reason decide, we're going to make him feud with lawyers. And then they, and loses the belt to Samoa Joe, gets it back. And then he's losing it to Powerhouse Hobbs, gets it back. And then once again, like I said, drops at the Luchasaurus and vanishes from my television again. So it's like you said, they get to where they needed him to get to, and then they just had no idea what to do with the guy. Yeah. And I don't understand why that should have been a thing, because he should have shot straight to the top of this company right there.
Power bomb number 4 on Griff was lazy. When I say lazy, he didn't protect Griff. He literally ragdolled him. You see Griff not take it flat back. He takes it on the shoulder, and Wardlow didn't seem to care. He was just out there to do his 45-second spot and just got the hell out of the ring. I would not be surprised if we see fallout from either reprimanding him and or him being so pissed off that he wants to get out of his contract. I'm really, really concerned with the overall placement of Wardlow in the card going forward.
I think that's kind of been the concern with AEW with many wrestlers. I mean, I think we could go down the list of a few guys that it's like their run is started and then stopped abruptly for whatever reason. A lot of times we're not even given a reason, and they just move on to something else. That's been one of my biggest pet peeves of watching AEW is not that we don't get good matches. I mean, we get good matches, honestly, more than anywhere else I've watched. But the cohesiveness and feeling like the characters and the wrestlers the talent is invested in. I'm not really seeing it. Not, some are getting invested in, and then others are start and stop and seem like no investment, or at least it's just sporadic. So I know it's got to be frustrating for those guys that are actually in that scenario. One of the teams that got invested in a ton and then had the most shocking match of Collision was FTR and Starks and Big Bill. Basically, FTR went out there and immediately Dax was basically kicked outside the ring and never came back. Kind of talking. I mean, he got smashed through a table, right?
It was Cash that went through the table.
Okay, yeah, Cash went through the table,
not Dax.
And then Dax gets pinned, right? and it was basically a 2-on-1. Seemed like pretty much a squash match, and it was over with. And they walked out of the ring, and it was a change in titles. And now it's got me wondering, is FTR on the way out? Because
No.
it was such an abrupt loss that it's
So
got me kind of worried.
now that the smoke is settled, we understand a little bit more about what's going on. In the past day, it's been made clear by Dax himself. They're under contract with AEW through 2027. And the reason why
Oh,
they
wow.
did the reason why they did the belt switch is because Cash is shoot hurt. Supposedly he's either got a broken rib or is some type of internal damage. He's going to need time off. And instead of them relinquishing the belts like we've seen so many times, they just decided to drop the belts to Starks and to Big Bill.
Ugh,
And kudos to Big Bill. The guy is turned his life around
right.
from personal demons, and he's got his first belt at a major federation. So kudos to Big Bill. I
And
also
we've
like the
seen it in
fact,
person, and I liked what I saw.
yeah, yep. Kudos to Starks. I think Starks is deserving, although I'm not sure that this is originally where they wanted to go with Starks. I think that
Oh,
that
yeah,
may
not
still
probably not.
brew. Yeah, I think that may still brew. I think we're going to eventually see the Young Bucks. It was supposed to be Young Bucks FTR. Now we're going to see Young Bucks against Bill and Starks, and I wouldn't doubt that they basically hotshot the belt over to the Young Bucks again. So not surprised. But yes, that when you guys sent the message that that had happened, I was out for dinner. I was shocked. My first thought was they're leaving for WWE because we had learned that on Friday Dax had trademarked CMFTR, and we all thought, oh, geez, what's going to happen? But now it's come to light that if they should ever wrestle in Japan on indie cards together, they'll be able to use that. If they ever should go back to the WWE and the man of which we will not speak is still a thing, they could team up again. So he's just protecting that CMFTR name, and I get that. But we also don't know what looms in the near future for Cash with his alleged road rage incident that happened last month. I believe he's going to court either this week or next for his arraignment. So who knows what's going on there? But yeah, from everything that I've seen and everything that I've heard, that was basically them taking the belts off FDR because Cash Wheeler is hurt and they didn't want to do another tournament. So that was what I took away from that.
It must have been some. It's like, for the record, it was definitely something because Kevin called me for like the only the second time he's ever actually called me on my phone in my life instead of texting me, like, because he was like, oh, you mean like Jey Uso and Cody won the tag titles? Like, no, I mean FTR just dropped the titles too. And it required Kevin to literally pick up the phone, like, what, are you freaking kidding me? It's like, was it at least close? I'm like, it was kind of a one-sided deal. It's like,
Yeah. I think I asked you if there was fuckery involved, and you said no, it was a clean pin, and it was on
oh,
Dax.
Yeah, you didn't even
Yeah,
believe it at first. I mean, you were
I
like, "Are
didn't.
you kidding me?"
Nope.
Um, and yeah, I just I don't like the way it was handled. I mean, I get it. It's better than just relinquishing the belt and having another stupid tournament, but to just haphazard. It seemed like just lackluster, haphazard. Just let's do this. Let's get it over with, and let's get to the doctor's office or whatever. I really, again, it's just a handoff. But if you're right, Kevin, and they're handing it off to the Young Bucks, I will be happy in the end because they need to have the titles back. I mean, the Young Bucks
So
got to get back on the scene to me.
you opened Pandora's box. You said it's not how I would have done it. So Morgan the Casual, if you had the pencil, what would you have done?
Well, I mean, I feel like that, it shouldn't have been just some random Saturday night. I feel like there should have been some sort of
Well,
build
wait,
up.
wait, 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 wait. WWE did the same shit at the same night. Put two random guys together, made them a tag team, and put them over.
Who is this?
So Jey
Jey Uso and
Uso
Cody
and
Rhodes,
Cody
the
Rhodes,
tag
Oh,
they're
champs
not a
of
well,
tag
WWE.
team.
yeah, I think that's kind of weird too. Like left a lot of people like, what? I don't
So
know, man.
how would you have booked it?
I mean, I feel like when's the next? I feel like you should build it up. I mean, I don't know how serious his injury is, but um,
Well,
you know,
It's so
yeah,
serious you could do jail time. That's how serious it is.
all things considered, yeah, I kind of feel like they were backed into a corner on this one. And like, I was gonna argue it's like I'm defensive Kevin, I guess, on this. It's like there weren't a lot of options. It's like, you can't go back to the Aussie Open option either because Mark Davis is hurt too. So,
So let's think about that for a minute now. Adam Cole and MJF. Adam Cole is
Yep.
hurt, whether that's a shoot or work.
Right. He's
FTR
hurt.
with the tag team champs. They're hurt.
Right.
Luchasaurus broke his finger Saturday night. He's hurt.
Oh no.
Mark Davis broke his wrist. He's hurt. So you have
I saw
three,
that.
two, two out of the three tag team championships. So the only tag team trios are the only ones that aren't hurt right now. So AEW is definitely getting bit by the injury bug for sure. But shame on you, and talk about karma if it comes back to the fact that Adam Cole is a work and they're playing it off as if he's hurt, but yet you have Cash who's legit hurt. I think it may be karma, boys.
um, this
You
actually
think
brought
you
up a
think that
point.
you really do feel like it's a work?
Well, let me ask you this. Why, if MJF and Adam Cole haven't relinquished the belts, couldn't FTR do the same thing?
True. I mean, I would like that much better than just randomly losing a belt on a very quick match and
Okay.
Cash getting hurt kind of really quickly.
Okay. So let's think about this. We have FTR, who is a shoot hurt team. We have MJF and we had Adam Cole, which could be a shoot injury, but it could also be a work. If you put those two up against the wall, which one would you go with? Would you continue the angle of MJF and Adam Cole? That's what I would do. Or would you continue the angle of FTR where one of them is hurt yet they still do a handicap defense or so on and so forth? So I don't think there was a better way to do this. There may have been better guys to hand the belt off to, but I don't know if there was a better way to hotshot the belt given the scenario that they had to play with. That's if I had the pencil. Again, I don't know if I
Yeah,
would have been Big Bill and Starks, but it is what it is.
Could have been
because I mean,
Orange Book.
they just ran Big Bill and Powerhouse for a couple of weeks, and then Powerhouse is now moving on to, gosh, where's he moving on to?
Let's House of Callus.
Another stable.
Let's talk about Hobbs. Man, did he look fantastic. If he's not a big meaty man getting ready to slap some meat, I don't know what is. I know that he's working with Mark Henry in the past year, and he's turned that kid around. He has got a very big upside, in my opinion. You can make him that monster. He's got the look, he's got the size. Have him work a big man match style, which he wasn't doing before, and we've seen that more and more now. I'm looking forward to Will Hobbs. I think everything's coming up Hobbs in the future. And you pair him with Callis, who is the most I'd say the biggest heel that AEW has right now, and let him do all his mic work. I am looking forward to Hobbs's future with Dallas.
So he's going to be the muscle of the group now, correct?
That's how I see it. Yep.
I think it's a fantastic fit. It's like I kind of worry about the whole Don Callis family getting entirely too big and there being too many members, like how the NWO is infamous for doing years. It's like because I was like, okay, we're getting another member, but on the other hand, Powerhouse is actually kind of a good fit here.
Another point is I wanted to call out from Saturday night the match between Brian Danielson and the Aussie Open. What's his name?
Kyle Fletcher.
Kyle Fletcher. Fantastic match. Did you notice that the way Daniel Bryan beat Kyle Fletcher was with Will Ospreay's pin?
True. I was more distracted by the fact Kyle Fletcher pulling a Darby Allin by nearly missing him and just lawn darting himself into the barricade there.
Yeah, I thought it was a very like a on the sly. This is not over with Will Ospreay, and I think we're going to run that back. If not on TV for a proper rating, I think we're going to see it at Full Gear again. It was an enjoyable match. I think it'll be a little more Smash Mouth. I'm looking forward to it. Basically, I'm looking forward to it. So I thought that was a very interesting little takeaway. Speaking of Darby Allin, supposedly he has a broken arm. He
No
deserved
kidding.
it. He deserved it, in my opinion.
I was like, no.
Here we go.
Yep.
I think that, like you said, they're obviously bit with the injury bug right now, and they've got to work with what they have. Um, I do feel like Starks is deserving, but Starks and Big Bill kind of seem like thrown together. They seem like the
Well,
belts were thrown on them. And if it's a
you gotta
transitional team to the Young Bucks, then that's okay. I mean, it's perfectly fine.
there's some history there. You have to remember when Starks was work suspended, he hired Bill to do some matches for him under his tutelage, so to speak. And I think actually, even at the collision we were at, didn't they tag up the two of them against FTR? So there is
No,
some history. Big
No,
Bill
that
took
was Powerhouse, wasn't it? Or no,
it was Big
who
Bill
did
and
he?
no.
Brian Cage.
Brian Cage, yeah, that's right.
Okay, all right. So there is some history with those two there. So it wasn't a complete like just pick two guys in the back. There was
Which
some
I didn't
cohesive
I didn't mind
storytelling.
Big Bill and Brian Cage together. Like why are they not still a thing?
Mhm.
Yeah, well, remember, Big Bill was part of Prince Nana's faction until Ricky Starks, quote unquote, bought his services, so that Starks could be still work, even though he was a work suspended, so to speak. So
All right.
there's some cohesive storytelling there. Morgan,
Let me
tell us the
throw
story.
something controversial to you. Which, by the way, I have no idea what you're drinking right now, but it looks disgusting.
Thank you, appreciate that.
um,
Lemonade or
let
piss,
me.
one of those.
It's
It's not R.
something.
Kelly's favorite drink.
It's
Oh,
something very yellow. Hopefully, it's lemonade or something. I don't know, but so here's the deal. I know this is going to make Kevin mad. I can just see it in his face right now.
go on.
I think that AEW is wasting their time with a match like Brian Danielson versus Kyle Fletcher. They
Go fuck
are going
yourself.
to lose this. They are already struggling to even have 500,000 views on Saturday. And they're going to use this as basically chances for 24-year-olds. Well, nobody's watching a great wrestler fight a 24-year-old. I mean, develop them on Dark. Do something else. If I'm going to take out my time on a Saturday night away from college football, I don't want to see Brian Danielson versus some no-name 24-year-old. Yeah, great. Give him some time. Work his way up. Hey, guess what? That's what the minor leagues are for. Like, is this really like the developmental league? Is that what we're doing? Because it's on TV and it's trying to compete on a Saturday night with other major sporting events. So
Morgan,
Can I?
Morgan, Morgan. You're like a young boy, and you need to go on an excursion.
Can I hear? It's like I'll tell you. The main is like the problem with what Morgan was just arguing about is that like I
Well,
don't
there's a
want to.
lot of problems.
Well, he's arguing about like seeing a old
Look at him.
legendary
He's
wrestler
sitting there
in the ring.
fucking gloating, and I've got literal steam coming off the top of my head, and
Okay,
he's laughing.
it's like we're mad because a 24-year-old guy is getting a chance against a seasoned wrestler. It's like, but
Morgan,
at the same time, like if WWE presented you with a match on SmackDown of Dominic Mysterio versus Daniel Bryan, people would buy it 100% and tune in.
Morgan, did you even have pubic hair when Razor Ramon fought 1-2-3 Kid?
Oh God.
I mean, I know who those both wrestlers are.
That was 94, 3.
And
I
1-2-3
probably I
Kid was
probably
like
didn't, but I
was
did play them on Nintendo. I promise you that.
it. You don't understand. To make tomorrow stars, to
Oh,
make
here we go.
tomorrow
Tomorrow's stars.
Rocky Maivia, who
Stone
was
Cold, Mankind,
well, no, before Stone
Goldust,
Cold, but yeah, all of these stars were a 24-year-old Kyle Fletcher.
Hunter
They
Hearst
have to
Helmsley.
they have to come from somewhere. Terrorizing,
Yeah.
Isaac Yankem, Mark Calloway, Mean Mark Callis. I mean, come on, all of these guys came from having that 20-something-year-old match against a veteran to make their names. You're missing the point. And the reason why a company goes out of business is because they're short-sighted. If you don't introduce a young 24-year-old that goes 18 minutes with Daniel Bryan on a Saturday night, then you're going to be dead in 2 to 3 years because you've got nobody in the next generation. That is how this business works. You have to develop stars. Now, should they have put that match on a Saturday night? I'm not here to argue that. I
Yes.
thoroughly enjoyed that match. I don't watch football. I could give two shits, but I enjoyed that match, and yet you hated that match, and that just shows you why we make for such good conversation.
It's
Well,
like
I'll tell you this. I feel like the whole card together was somebody you know versus somebody you really don't know. Other than
And
the
ag
tag team match, and then the tag team match threw you off completely because it's like, what just happened there? But, there wasn't like, um, the whole card was that way. So it just seemed like it lackluster event. I mean, and we're
it didn't
okay.
seeing
look
we're
it
seeing it in the attendance and the ratings, and that's what concerns me is that how can you you
can
know,
can
keep
we
doing what you're doing if it's not improving at all week over week?
so tell me, when you sat down with Tony Khan, what did you guys have to drink? What did he serve you?
Do
I mean,
I get
I
credit?
where are you basing it on? I mean, you must have met with Tony if you know what they're doing for merchandising and you know what they're doing for buys and views. So tell us, enlighten us. When did you meet with Tony?
Do I
I
get
mean,
the
I
rant
don't know
here?
any of that. I don't know any of that, but I do know what I'm seeing as far
But you
as
just spoke
viewership.
like you did.
I mean, I see on social media the viewership numbers are not getting any better.
Okay.
And then I see the
Well,
photos of people there live and they're not very
okay.
good.
I don't disagree that Saturday night is not working, and I don't think Saturday night was meant to work. Drew, go ahead. I know
Was
you're
it
I'm
so
just
so
saying,
it
like,
was not meant to work? I don't get that.
I told you there is a rumor that Tony is funding to be on TV Saturday night. Let me ask you, Morgan, how many views does Transformer 3 rerun for the fifth time on a Saturday night draw? Does it draw
I guess that would
200,000
be I
views?
guess that would be TBS's alternate, yeah,
Okay, well, okay, well, what about
for
Coming to America
TNT.
Again or whatever it's called? What movie is going to do? What did they do? What did they do 2 weeks ago Saturday night? Can you tell me that? You're looking at stats.
I don't have it
I've
up.
got I've got all the stats in front of me for Wednesday night. So when we're ready to go there, I'm ready to go. But I think they did about 275 a week ago Saturday night. What did Transformer 3 rerun for the 10th time this month do on a Saturday night before Collision was on? It's a win by TBS's standards in that time slot. Saturday nights 8 to 10 is just reruns of old movies. Batman Begins, Batman Beyond. These are all reruns, and they're not getting quarter mils on those hits. So again,
Yeah.
go ahead. I
I
see you
could I
looking.
mean, I could see that. I could see that.
What else was on TBS on Saturday nights? That's what it was. It was reruns of old movies. Drew, you're having a heart attack. Go ahead.
like I'm here too. It's like, um, okay. So let me break in here finally. Look, it's like running something like Daniel Bryan's and or Brian Danielson and Kyle Fletcher on Saturday was probably the smartest and best thing you could do. It's a blip on the radar. I mean, it's like they were up against A, college football, and B, WWE running a pay-per-view at the exact same time. It's a no-win situation for them whatsoever. If AEW Collision manages to pull 3,000 people watching that show, that is a win, all things considered, when most wrestling fans can just tune into Peacock and pick up, an actual wrestling pay-per-view, or like you said, in the Southeast here, where football is the most important thing going on Saturday night. It's like they're in a no-win situation. We knew Collision was in a no-win situation. But to Kevin's defense, they're not 100. It's like they're not wrong in the sense of like, just weather the storm and we'll get through. It's like, and you'll probably pick up ratings eventually.
Not knowing what the deal is between Warner and Tony Khan, fly on the wall, Tony said, I want to put a show on Saturday night from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock every week, and I'll do the same numbers that you do with your reruns of Transformers 3 or better. And they're
Yeah,
doing that.
it's
And
hands
they're doing
down.
that.
Like I guarantee you, even with the lower ratings and stuff like that, Collision is still probably pulling better numbers than anything on their network.
And
What I
Morgan,
will say, and I will say the negative of Collision is, and why I think, viewership is down and that, and tickets are down, is because AEW puts on way better matches than everybody else right now in the business. But WWE is just the grandmaster of when it comes to putting on good television. They know how to make enthralling, entertaining television that makes people tune in for the next episode and the next episode, the next episode. And it's one of the things that's bothering me right now about the current state of wrestling, because I think an even worse example or greater example of that is Impact Wrestling, who is allegedly putting on some of the best work they've put on in their entire 20-year existence, but nobody's watching it and nobody cares because, it's like, and I've heard one of the best reasons I've heard of this is because there's wrestling on every single day now. And basically, like, I don't have time in my day to watch this much wrestling. And so if I'm going to pick something, 7 out of 10 people are going to default WWE every time.
Yes. And let's talk about Impact for a minute. Morgan, take your Adderall and pay attention here. T- T- Impact TNA has been around since 2001. That means they've been around 2002. That means they've been around for 21 years. They've had 1,000 episodes of TV, and yet they don't do more than 200,000 viewers per segment on Thursday nights because they're not on a major TV channel. You have to have rabbit ears and a satellite to get their signal, but they're still around 20 plus years later, 1,000 episodes later. And many of those stars have either passed through TNA or Impact and or have come out of Impact and gone to WWE and or AEW. So you can have a show weekly that is doing 170, 150, 100, 200,000 and still be absolutely fine. They've proven that it works. And again, what is the ratings for a rerun of Transformers 3 for the third time this quarter on TBS on a Saturday night from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m.? Does anyone know?
I will hit you with another fact on that one, Kevin, is the fact it's like even in 2001, when they took Nitro and Thunder off the air, Nitro was still the highest rated show on TNT when they pulled the plug on WCW. Like nothing else they had was pulling in the ratings that Nitro was. Even in its lowest point, was still the highest rated thing TNT had.
I'm not sure in the world that we are today that we're ever going to see that 3 million number that we used to see 2.7, 2.8, 2.9.
Oh, I don't think it will.
I think Raw broke 3 million once or twice. It wasn't often, but on a Monday night, the thing to do was to watch professional wrestling. I remember having split screen, picture in picture, WCW on the left, WWE on the right, and every other week somebody would be jumping, and it was exciting times. And that's where you were getting that 2.5 to 3 million rating every week. I don't know we're going to live to see another generational boom like that in professional wrestling. I think your norm right now for anybody that isn't WWE, a healthy number on a Wednesday night for Dynamite is 750,000 to a million. And I have the historical data. So whenever you're ready, we're going to compare it against NXT.
Can I argue something, Kevin?
Yes.
It's like, can I argue something? It's like, though, would it be wise for AEW to move to smaller venues where it's more compact?
I mean, are they not already doing that?
Sound and look to it.
I mean, I feel like they're already doing that, are they not?
Okay, so last week on Saturday Night's Collision, they sold, I think it was 20-something hundred tickets in a venue that held, I think, 8,000. So yes, very sparsely
it did not look. If you look at the pictures from the panning of the crowd,
right,
Morgan, it's like Collision does not look pretty.
However, this coming week, Collision is nearly sold out. So I think it has to do with markets as well. Now they're going to some new markets. We know that not every market is a wrestling hotbed. You go to New York, you go to Canada, you go to Philadelphia, you go to Chicago. Those are hotbeds.
Can I argue again? Like, why are we not on that list? Because that Greenville, we went to Collision in Greenville, and that place was well packed.
Yeah, and we went to Atlanta to the was it the gas something arena?
Gas something light arena.
Yeah, Gas South Arena. Yeah, the Gas South Arena, and that was basically sold out. So it has to do with where you're located. if I'm not mistaken, they were in like Missouri or Mississippi or something like that last
They
week.
were they were in Salt Lake City for
Okay.
those, I
Well,
think.
there you go. It was Mormons. They don't come out to see professional wrestling.
Oh,
You can't
Especially
buy
on a
beer. Why would
Saturday.
you go to professional wrestling? Do they even let you wear a black T-shirt? There's 2 strikes right there. No black T-shirts, no beer. Nobody's going to go to professional wrestling in Utah.
I mean, Kevin has a point there. That's for sure. Well, let me ask you this. I felt like the the intro for the Bullet Club Gold fell flat for me. Do you feel like the fans are not behind them? Because I actually do like that stable, and I don't mind seeing them. I want to see
Did
more of them, but when they came out, it didn't really seem to get any kind of emotion from anybody.
you saw that they have a new member? Yes,
sort of. Yeah,
Um,
Belty.
Belty. Look at Morgan. Oh, a
It's
little
like
help, guys.
they've got
He
they have
stole MJF's
commandeered
belt.
MJF's AEW World Title.
So now you got Cardblade and Belty, all part of Bullet Club Gold.
Belty. Oh, the belt. Okay, I
Belty,
get it.
yes, yep.
Okay.
Um,
I don't pick up on things if you've noticed. I just noticed they had a belt that wasn't theirs.
Yeah, well, they stole it from MJF. They commandeered it. I think that it just I don't think a lot of people understand or even maybe even recall because again, you're catching your casual fan and or your lapsed fan. So if you didn't follow New Japan, you don't know what Bullet Club is. You don't even know who is in Bullet Club. What does Bullet Club mean? So I think it's
I
a
know
bit of
that
a
Cody
miss on the
Rhodes was the
US.
leader, according to Michael Cole tonight.
No,
Yeah.
he was not the leader
No,
of
no, no.
wait,
Let me cut in here,
Literally
Pat.
right
It's
now,
like Kevin,
literally
you
just 5 minutes ago, Michael Cole said Cody Rhodes was the is the leader
Kevin,
of Bullet.
well,
Kevin.
that's revisionist history. Yes, go
No,
ahead,
no, no,
Drew.
Kevin. This is what it was. It was at the pay-per-view where what was it? Judgment Day was with Finn Balor and Damian Priest taking on Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, and he was like, those are two guys in there, Finn Balor and Cody Rhodes, who were the former leaders of the Bullet Club, and to which Corey Graves immediately cuts him off and says, "Way to earn Twitter points, Cole," and stuff.
Nice.
Which I personally think that's kind of a dig at AEW there because I always kind of feel like AEW does try to earn Twitter points. And a case in point, and this brings up a great example of what I'm talking about there. Morgan saw MJF getting a back rub from Max Caster, and he had no freaking idea what that was all about because he had no idea what they do
Right.
on Twitter back and
Yeah,
forth.
they're working X. Yep.
Yep.
So real
And
quick, I want to bring up the fact. Does anybody remember about 12 years ago, THQ had their video game launch for one of the WWE video games, and everybody was drunk. Ric Flair was drunk.
oh
JR was
yeah,
drunk.
that
Do you
got
remember
JR
who got?
fired, didn't it?
There you go.
Really,
It got JR fired. It got Dolph Ziggler buried, and
really.
Ric Flair was offered a Legends contract. Yet you have Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, who admittedly said we had libations on the bus. How much trouble are they going to get in?
None.
I don't
Well,
believe
new
that.
new management now.
I don't believe that.
I want to believe it's like, I mean, you have a valid point to that, but they're milking it. The WWE is milking that performance from them. And this is coming from a guy that's been arrested for DUI. It's
Right.
like, hey, he's
Multiple
drunk on TV,
times.
and we're making this work.
Multiple times. And listen, I know we don't talk a lot about WWE, and I know that you want to talk about Fastlane. However, let's talk about tomorrow night. NXT, developmental brand, does not have mainstream stars, although lately they've been mixing it up. They've been bringing people down. I understand that. However, let's quickly go over what they're doing tomorrow night, and then you tell me whether they think AEW is competition or not. The first 30 minutes of NXT tomorrow night are commercial free. John Cena is going to be on NXT tomorrow night. The
Ooh,
Undertaker is going to be on NXT tomorrow night. Asuka against, and I'm going to ask you, Drew, what's her name?
Roxanne Perez.
Is going to headline NXT. Do you think that they're worried that they're going to get beat by AEW? And if AEW does beat them, what does that say? Because AEW isn't necessarily do anything out of the ordinary, other than it calling it a night of belts or night of. It's not night of champions. It's some name. Tuesday night belts. It's got a name. That's all they're doing. And I do
Battle
think
of the
that we're
Belt.
gonna. No, it's not a battle with the belts, but they're not doing anything special. They're going to do their standard AEW best show we can put on. Yet NXT or WWE is clearly sending them the message that we are not to be fucked with, and I'm going to love it when AEW crushes them in the ratings.
Title Tuesday is what they're
There we
calling
go.
it.
Thank you. I couldn't come up with a jingle. Drew,
Thanks,
I can
Here's
see
my
you're
thing.
flabbergasted. Drew is
I think
basically frozen on the screen like pie-eyed. Go ahead, Drew.
Oh, I
if
was
you're
just gonna say, like, look, man, it's like I don't have AEW getting the win here. And my thing is like, do they see him as a threat? Possibly, but I personally think it is more as just I hate saying this, but like WWE, always say is petty, where it's like, hey, we happen to see you're coming up against us, head to head, and we'll come up with any excuse we can to just stick the knife in our competitors.
And here's what it comes down to. Do you want to see somebody retired to come out and wave to the crowd? Do you want to see somebody that's got a bigger bald spot than I don't know who? And Morgan, don't look at me that way. It looks terrible. And you're going to see two fans. You're going to see fans that want to watch wrestling. That's me. And you're going to see Morgan who wants to see The Undertaker. That's Morgan. Wave to me, Morgan. There you go. That's what we're going to see tomorrow night. And is there more people who want to see wrestling? Or are there more people who want to see nostalgia? And it'll be very interesting in 10 days or 7 days when we see the results to this.
Oh, come on. I know the answer to that one. It's going to be nostalgia.
I don't know.
I want you to be right. I really do. But if I know professional wrestling, it's nostalgia.
Can we talk ratings for a minute since I did my homework here?
Well, wait a minute. I wanted to let everybody know. I mean, I got my Never Give Up sweatbands. I'm going to sleep with them tonight because I can't wait for tomorrow. I got my headband, and you can't see me hat. I'm ready for tomorrow. I actually saw and have a picture with John Cena when I was 19 years old. I'll have to send to you guys so you can believe me. By the way, I also have a picture of me and CM Punk. By the way, when they did the Tribute to the Troops in 2006. If you go back on YouTube and you go to Tribute to the Troops 2006, you can see me at the entrance of the steps at the ring, a young Morgan the Casual there. And I got a picture with John Cena and a couple other guys. It was a good time, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do I want to see John Cena or do I want to see some no-name 24-year-old that's going to be good 30 years from now? I don't know.
Dude,
Morgan.
they're putting
Morgan.
John Cena and Braun Breaker up again. I think John Cena and Braun Breaker are doing something in a similar match, and they're putting that up against Bryan Danielson and Swerve Strickland.
I guarantee you that this is Triple H going for the kill here.
Yep.
Morgan, first off, thank you for your service. I appreciate that. However, stop marking out for yourself. No one enjoys anyone marking out for themselves, okay?
I thought this was a fairly thing where this could go either way right up until it's like that's when it's like throw out the Undertaker. When the Undertaker comes out, it's like that's their we're gonna take the cheap way out and get the nostalgia trip, and it's gonna give us an extra several thousand.
But we're not gonna see Undertaker. We're gonna see Mark Callis.
They don't.
How do you feel? How do you feel about that?
It's like. I guarantee you, 9 out of 10 wrestling fans don't care. They get Biker Taker out there. They're happy.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's not Biker Taker. Is that what you're saying? You're saying he's coming out as who
he's coming out as either Biker Taker or Undertaker. It's one of the two. Hey, that 30 minutes that they have commercial free might just be them doing Undertaker, doing the dead man gimmick, trying to get to the ring.
By the way, AEW Tony Khan.
Oh, he froze on us.
Yeah, we got Morgan.
So bad he froze.
Morgan just hit the reset button. If we could just show that video right now.
Oh, we're keeping this in. It's like keeping this.
While Morgan figures out why his daughter is downloading Bluey in the background.
No, all seriousness. What was he getting at there?
I have no idea, but he looks like a deer in the headlights.
Anyway, where was I?
You were talking about bringing up Mark Callis, the 30 minutes.
Okay, yeah, like, you know how Undertaker entrances are, man. It takes like a solid 10, 15 minutes to get back to to get into the ring before he gets to nothing.
Do you think that they'll open it up with him?
No, they'll probably save him for dead last. Or it's like, It's all about.
Well,
Oh, I know what he was getting at was that Tony Khan said he's got 10 minutes overtime overrun already set up for the
oh,
show.
it's amazing what they'll do to go back and forth. So no, interesting. You would want to pop your top of the hour rating. So I would assume that Undertaker. We seem to be having some technical difficulties. There he is.
Yeah.
He's back.
So computer froze up. I think I had too many windows up at
Please
once.
keep everything we said in there. It's like we're not
The
editing.
funniest part. The funniest part was like you look like a deer in the headlights. You were frozen. Your eyes were bug out. Yes, and that's exactly how you froze. It was funny as all hell.
All right, you ready? So let me pick up where I was in my thought.
Tony Khan got an extra
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Funny thing is, fellas, 10 minutes ago, Tony Khan just released that they also have 30 minutes of commercial free for tomorrow night. So they are going toe to toe here with the 30 minutes commercial free.
Unbelievable. So we were just talking about what we expect to happen, but I will tell you guys, I won't catch WWE or NXT live. I'll watch it on a replay if it's worth watching. If it's just guys coming out to get a pop, I don't really care to see that. But if it's a good show, I'll watch it. But I'll be tuning into AEW tomorrow night.
Honestly, if you want my opinion, I'll probably end up tuning into AEW. It's like everything NXT is presenting at me, with the exception of the Oscar Roxanne Perez match, screams to me. It's like I can catch highlights on Twitter and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's like, especially with the Undertaker. I mean, it's nothing. It's like I can just catch that on Twitter and keep focused on an actual show.
Now, Morgan, normally I would ask you what you're going to watch, but we kind of already know what you're going to watch.
Well, the card looks good. Hobbs versus Jericho, Saraya versus Sheeta, which they are teasing maybe a surprise visit from someone. And then Adam Copeland, Luchasaurus, Danielson, Strickland for the number one contender.
Oh.
And then Hangman Page versus Jay White. And then finally, Phoenix versus Moxley. I think that's a good card.
Guys, we're getting petty in real time right now. I just looked at my thing, like on my Twitter feed. 21 minutes ago, Tony Khan posts, the first 30 minutes of Title Tuesday will be commercial free on TBS tomorrow night. It is on, yo.
Didn't Morgan just say that when he came
No,
back?
he said that about NXT.
No, he said, Morgan said, Tony.
All
right, Drew.
Both going, okay,
Drew,
then
you take your Adderall, okay?
Look, we're covering for a part where it's like where our host disappeared for like a good 5 minutes.
And I'm definitely leaving that part in.
Point is, both of them are going to go 30 minutes free or commercial free.
Yeah, if you're looking to steal thunder, Mercedes Moné is going to certainly do that for you. If you're looking to get people to change the channel, I think that you would put that segment on against when the Undertaker's going to come on. And if I had to guess, that's going to be straight up 9 o'clock because that's going to be your top of the hour of the rating. So that would be my guess. There was something else I wanted to touch on from the other night with AEW, and now I can't recall. So my apologies. I lost the thought.
From the collision?
No, there was something that crossed my mind that I wanted to discuss, but it slipped my mind. But I did want to talk about the overall health status of AEW. And here's my quick 1.5, 2-minute take. When AEW hit TV 4 years ago, there were no expectations. Nobody knew what it was going to be. Nobody knew what it was going to do. And man, to borrow a line, boy howdy did they come out of the gate. They hit 1 million views in the first 6 months. They were doing great. Then they started to slowly recede. We get down to the 600,000s. I think we even topped in the mid 500,000s. But we've been consistent between 650 and 800 now for like 2.5 years. That seems to be their number, about 800,000 on average. If you compare that to NXT, that is 150 to 200,000 on average more per week than NXT that AEW is doing. You cannot expect AEW to come out of the gates and be at the level of WWE or even close to it. So you can't compare Raw SmackDown to Dynamite Collision. It's just not the same. It's not apples and oranges. This is a new company. This isn't a WCW that used to be another federation before it was WCW. It used to be NWA. Used to be WCCW. That had a following and a quote unquote customer base. So when it hit the market and WCW took over with Nitro, yeah, you had all those people that were familiar with it. AEW is new. It's going to take time. And in my opinion, I think some of the bloom is off the rose, and that's what we're starting to see now with live events. Oh, I've seen Sting. Oh, I've seen CM Punk. Oh, I've seen whoever. I don't think people are coming out in the droves that they were when it first hit the market. So I think we're starting to see a bit of a slowdown, but it's consistent. And I'm going to quickly run down just for the past, let's say, month, guys. If I take a look at the viewership for AEW Dynamite on Wednesday night, October 4th, it was 800,000. October 3rd for NXT was 887,000. So they beat them there. Dynamite, September 27th, 855,000. NXT, 636,000. September 20th, Dynamite for Grand Slam was 984,000. Same week, 824,000 for NXT. September 13th, 888,000. September 12th, 850,000. September 6th for NXT, 887,000. NXT, 673,000. That'll finish it up with the last weekend in August. AEW did 871,000 and NXT on August 29th did 614,000. So overall, in those 5 weeks that I just mentioned, it looks to be that AEW took all but 2 of those weeks, and I think that one of those weeks was Cena on NXT. Am I correct?
Could be.
Yeah,
Oh
there
no,
was
I wasn't
something.
watching NXT.
Yeah, there was something that happened. So I think that AEW is doing as well, if not slightly exceeding what they expect in that time slot. Because again, what were they doing on a Wednesday night from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock? They were showing Young Sheldon or whatever. I mean, really, that's what they were doing. So they were getting, a couple 100,000. So if they're doubling or tripling their numbers, that is a win for Warner.
I was gonna say
That's what I'm getting at.
if you can be real for a second, like both, I put this on both Collision and SmackDown, which are on Friday nights and Saturday nights. For them to do the numbers that either of those, shows is doing is nothing short of impressive. It's like because those are definitely 2 nights where like the average American would be doing anything else than sitting home and watching wrestling. But they're
You know,
still pulling in thousands of viewers.
And you know what's interesting and also sad? I think I've seen all but maybe 2 of the collisions live, watching them on TV on a Saturday night. So what does that say about me?
You're
I mean,
lonely.
if you're not
Crickets.
watching it live, you're not
Crickets.
getting counted.
Crickets.
Yeah, if you're not watching it live, I mean, you're not getting counted, so you're hurting that score.
Yep.
They're not counting DVRs like you and me. I mean, I guess I'm not helping at all because I DVR everything.
I think they are counting DVRs.
They are. The technology is there.
Yeah, I'm saying they count
Well,
DVRs.
if they're counting DVRs, then I'm still in the mix. I'm actually
you're
honestly
still in the
helping
mix.
both because I DVR everything.
I seem to find a way to watch it because I feel like it's not must watch, but it's close to must watch. Like I didn't see it this week. You guys are blowing up my phone. I'm trying to have dinner. Morgan, you ruined my night. You told me that FTR dropped the belts. I couldn't eat dinner. It
He
was
said
spoiled.
it's like to
He
the
couldn't
defense. He
eat
said
dinner.
I ruined his dinner.
And it was
Wow, I
Antonio's, so you
couldn't
know how
even-
much I love Antonio's. We all love Antonio's.
Shameless
some
plug.
good
We
pizza.
get a sponsorship.
Antonio's, Powersville.
I ruined your dinner. Wow, I ruined date night with the Oracle
Yep.
and Miss Oracle. Wow,
Miss
I can't
Oregon.
believe it.
That's right. So-
One thing that I did want to hit on as at the end of the show is I just saw this from Eric Bischoff's podcast. He said the smartest thing Tony Khan could do is to basically not waste Mercedes Moné by battling this Tuesday night battle. Like
He's not
leave it
necessarily
alone.
wrong.
Leave it alone. Tee it up for something better up, later on.
Does
So
he think
what
that
was your
it's
thoughts
it's
on
an
that?
insurmountable? Well, I think he's probably looking at it as it's an insurmountable task to be able to pull viewers away from NXT to get AEW's the nod. I'm not sure he's wrong. I'm hoping he's wrong. And again, I'm going to be watching AEW in support. But Drew, you might be right. NXT may stomp them this week because of
He
all the star
said-
power.
I listened to Bischoff. Bischoff said he thinks they do 500,000 viewers for AEW on tomorrow, and he thinks what do you call it? NXT goes about 900,000, maybe up to 1 million.
So
Wow.
the last time the last time AEW did less than 600,000. I'm still historically going here. I mean, February they did 1 million. I don't see anything in the past year that they did even under 700,000. Sorry, June 15th, 2022. they did 761,000. So over a year ago is the last time they dropped below 700.
I've argued the point. I think they go 750,000 to NXT getting close to 1 million. I think it's much closer than that. I think NXT edged them out. And the thing is I also personally think that after this Tuesday, I wouldn't be surprised if NXT's ratings drop off a little, because I think they're doing exactly what Eric Bischoff was notorious for. They knew they were going head to head, so they're loading up the show, and they're
Sure.
and they're going to blow their load on this.
Yep. So it'll be interesting. So I know we're all going to watch tomorrow night, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of messages going back and forth. But you know who wins? We win. We're getting quality programming, and we're sitting here talking about it in this day and age. So I'm happy to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm coming from like the late 90s of professional wrestling. I was a teenager during the Monday Night Wars. This is my advice to everybody. Watch them both. Flip between channels. That's how we did it in 1998.
Well, as you guys mentioned in the text that we have going, if there's competition that's healthy for the business as a whole, and it's also good for the talent out there as well, because they have somewhere to go that may not be as big of a fall off. I mean, maybe the pay is different for sure, but it may not be as big of a drop because there's pros and cons for both.
So I do remember now what I wanted to talk about. Let me ask you guys this, and we can probably end on this. This is a rhetorical question. If Adam Cole is shoot hurt, why is he putting off surgery? Why is he putting off the surgery to help Roderick Strong around the house and do his feng shui? Wouldn't you have that man in a surgeon's office being operated on, getting him back back on his feet and in rehab as soon as possible?
Because
I
it's either
still think it's a work.
I think it's a work, or it's the most irresponsible thing I've ever seen in my life. It's like, and it's like after Dynamite and watching it, I was like, this is a work.
So that's my parting shot for this week, boys. Adam Cole, why haven't you gotten surgery?
Well, maybe we'll learn more. And there's a lot of things we've speculated on tonight that we can't wait to see how it unfolds on Tuesday. We'll see. I don't know, guys. Did we decide whether or not we're going to release it immediately tomorrow or not? Because, we're really speculating about something that will then be in the past if we wait till Tuesday. I
Yeah,
think we
go
go ahead
for
and
it.
release
If
just
we can
because
follow-
of the advancement of the week.
Special
So
edition.
Yeah, do
special
it.
edition Tuesday coming in. I'll put the title in special edition Tuesday talk for us. But thank you again for listening and being a part of And Still a Wrestling Podcast. We'll see you next week.
Hey CJ, how about a BJ?
Oh.